Hello, and welcome to our program, Astronomy for Everyone. We're out here at Astronomy at the Beach. It's 27th edition to bring you some of the sights and sounds of this exciting event. We hope you enjoy the following program, and we look forward to your comments. We're here with Brian Odom at Astronomy at the Beach. He's in charge of public relations for the program. So we'll have him talk to you about that, and then we'll talk about these nice pictures behind us. Brian?
Thank you. This is our 27th year at Astronomy at the Beach. Over 75,000 served. I think it's the largest public astronomy event in the state of Michigan, one of the biggest in the Midwest. And it's really a lot of fun, and I'm in charge of getting the word out and doing the publicity. So it's a lot of fun, and we have a wonderful night tonight. Looks like we're going to get a good crowd, and tomorrow night looks good, so we're going to have 2 good nights in a row. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, that usually doesn't happen with this event.
Yes. We've had a double loss. We've had 2 cloudy nights in a row.
Yes,
Yeah.
plus we had 2 years when we did it virtually.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was fun, but it was not as fun as being in person.
Exactly. It's always nice to let people look through the scopes themselves.
Yep, and I see a lot of scopes out there. We're expecting probably 50 telescopes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a few.
And hoping for a $50,000 telescope from Planewave. They said they might come, and maybe if they're not here tonight, they'll be here tomorrow.
Something to look forward to.
Yes, definitely.
Now, we've got a annular eclipse coming up in October.
Yes.
So this will be our October show. So
Yes.
those folks who see it before October 14th can jump on this opportunity. Tell us about it.
Well, we have an annular eclipse happening in the United States, and that is where the moon is covering up the sun, but it's not quite big enough to cover up the entire sun. So it leaves an annulus, which is basically that ring of fire. So you still can't look at it because it's even though most of the sun is gone, it's not safe to look at it. But it's really cool, and a lot of people are traveling. I just talked to a young couple. They're going out to New Mexico to see it.
Great.
But here in Michigan, it's just going to be like that right there.
Okay, a partial.
Only 30%.
Basic partial eclipse.
Yeah, so it's interesting if you have the eclipse glasses, and they're giving the eclipse glasses away here at the event, and so that it's really good for that. But it's not a spectacular event. It's an interesting event.
It will be, and of course the big one comes next April.
Yes, April 8th is the big one, and that's why we're having talks tonight in the tent and tomorrow night on how to see it. And this back here, this is a total solar eclipse. This is the amazing one where the sky goes dark. The sun is gone for 4 minutes this time. Highly recommend people do whatever you got to do to go see it. April 8th, and nearby in Ohio, they're already canceling schools. They're already canceling schools in the state of Ohio where the eclipse track is happening. So I strongly recommend folks to plan to go April 8th. It's going to be an amazing, life-changing experience.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll all like to take advantage of that. Brian, we appreciate you taking the time with us this evening.
Yes, glad to talk.
And we're talking with Chris from the NASA Glenn Research Center in Ohio. So, Chris, can you tell our viewers about your facility?
Oh, absolutely. So, yes, my name is Chris Hartenstein. I am from the Glenn Research Center, which is one of the 10 NASA centers around the country. We are the only NASA center in the Midwest, and we are a research center. So we do research on engineering, technologies, things for propulsion, as well as power systems. We also do some aeronautical research, materials research, communications research, and we have some world-class facilities for testing that you can find nowhere else in the world.
So what types of programs do you work on there?
So I work mainly and primarily in outreach and communications. However, I talk with engineers that do many different programs. Like I said, materials, we are working for things that can go to the moon, things that are going to be on the moon, how we work, for example, traction and with wheels and tires going on the moon and onto Mars. We do engine research, so making sure the materials don't break down inside an engine as it's powered through. So those kind of projects. We also do, like I said, space communications, also working in the aeronautics world as well. We're part of the Quest supersonic transport program. So there's lots of different things that are integrated across the agency, but also we have key roles in the research and technology that are going to get us to the end of those missions.
Now, I understand that you do outreach programs throughout the Midwest?
Yes. So this summer especially, we've been really bouncing around. We were in Indianapolis doing a program. We've also been all over Ohio, Columbus, to try and share, one, that you don't have to leave the Midwest to be part of NASA. That's a really big push for us. We want to include especially all our young people that are out here and exploring today, so that they know that they can do internships and get jobs here in the Midwest that work for NASA and do this NASA research. So we want to make sure that people know that we're here, know that we're available, and that this could be the future for them as NASA engineers, scientists, and engineers.
Sounds exciting. What are you working on now that we'll be surprised to see in 6 months or a year that you can tell us about?
Yes. No. So, like I said, so we are working and doing some work with the Quest supersonic transport. So the X-59 plane actually is getting ready for its first rollout and first flight. It's completely built, but it's getting through its last tests and verifications. So that should be coming in hopefully here this fall, maybe into the next spring, but we'll see where the timing goes with that. We're also working on the engines that are going to power the Gateway lunar outpost. So working on the ion engines that will help keep it in orbit around the moon.
Sounds like you've got a lot of fascinating projects coming up, Chris, and really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
We're here with this evening's keynote speaker at Astronomy at the Beach. His name is Jesse Mason, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and about his talk this evening.
Hi, I'm Jesse Mason. I am from Livonia, Michigan, and I teach physics and astronomy for Henry Ford College. I also direct their planetarium, and I was a founding member of the Farmington Community Stargazers. My talk this evening is a centennial celestial celebration. We're calling it The Day We Discovered the Universe. It's celebrating Hubble's image of Andromeda, then a nebula, now we know it's a galaxy, and the identification of the first variable star in the Andromeda galaxy, which helped him determine the distance to it.
And that was really only about 100 years ago, correct?
Yeah, almost to the day.
So we really haven't had a true sense of what the universe is until the last 100 years.
Yeah, the size of the universe exploded from that point on. We thought the universe was something like 30,000-ish light years across, maybe a little bit more, and it turns out it's like 2 million times bigger. So yeah, it's gotten much bigger.
So what, as a youngster, got you interested in astronomy and space?
That's an easy one. It was the Hale-Bopp comet. My family watched the Hale-Bopp comet come and go, and it captured my imagination. And I went to the library and I took out astronomy books and watched astronomy shows. I was a big Star Trek fan at the time. And when I was in college, I started studying physics and astronomy. But it was the comet.
It was the comet. I remember the comet very, very well, and as they say, the rest is history.
Yes. Yep.
Well, we're glad that you're here tonight to give the keynote address, and I'm sure they'll fill the tent to hear your presentation.
Yeah, I'm very excited to give it.
Terrific. We're here with Jeff McLeod from the Warren Club, and he's brought his Gemini simulator to Astronomy at the Beach. Jeff, can you tell us a bit about it?
I can speak endlessly about this. So this was a project that I started a few years ago. Believe it or not, it started off as a cardboard spaceship, and then it just kept escalating from there, and now it is a fully encapsulated mock-up of a Gemini capsule. So a little bit about the simulator. It's not a model. It's not a replica. It's not meant to look like a Gemini capsule. It's meant to feel like a Gemini capsule. So if you're familiar with the spacecraft, The doors aren't on the side of a Gemini, they're on the top. Mine aren't. Makes it easier to get into. It's actually roomier than a real Gemini because it's nice to have comforts like that. So if you're at all interested, GeminiSimulator.com is a website I hope to have someday. I'm working on it. But if you want to contact me, GeminiSimulator@gmail. If you're interested in me bringing this out to any of your events or that kind of stuff, and then I've also got all the cash apps if you're willing to put some money towards the project. I'm a one-man space program, so it's not cheap. I've got plans for the future, so hopefully I'll be able to do that one day. So as we come in, is this cable long? Okay. So we stand up. This is what we call egress, right? Normally on a space capsule, there's like a team of people that help you do this so that you don't tear your suit. We have a little bit of help, but we do it in our pajamas. So you just climb in, right? You're now in launch configuration. We close the doors on you. Your windows are actually in front of you up here, so you can see the Earth. And I have a joystick here. This is giving me attitude control over the spacecraft. And for right now, all of our buttons and panels are just pictures, but I have a 3D printer. I have switches. Someday they'll all be real. And so you've got I'm actually in the pilot seat. The commander seat is over here on the left. So we get 2 crew at a time, just like the real Gemini. And it's hard to get out with a microphone. But that's the basics. And then there's all the bells and whistles that nobody knows about.
We hope you've enjoyed this first part of our program here at Astronomy at the Beach. Right now we'll take a quick break. If you have a question, please send us an email. The address is down at the bottom of your screen. And coming up next is Term of the Month with Stephen.
Thanks, Don. The term of the month is Bennu. In 2020, the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft gathered dust from the asteroid Bennu using a smash and grab technique. The capsule recently landed in the western Utah desert with around 250 grams. Scientists hope that this dust will help unravel essential mysteries about the formation of planets. It may also shed light on the origins of organic molecules and water, which played a crucial role in the emergence of life on Earth. Bennu formed in the early stages of the solar system's creation. Unlike planets, it has not undergone high temperatures and pressures and therefore is better preserved. It is the most dangerous object in our solar system, with a 1 in 2,700 chance of colliding with Earth in 2182. With a diameter just under 500 yards or meters, such a collision could create a crater 3 miles or 5 kilometers wide. When the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft landed, it sank half a meter or yard into it before igniting its rockets. The asteroid's soft surface could function like a crumple zone of a car, complicating altering Bennu's course with a collision-based method. 25% of the material will be allocated to scientists across the globe for in-depth investigations. The rest will be saved for when new equipment and analytical methods are available. And that's Term of the Month, Bennu. Back to you, Don.
Thanks, Stephen. We're back here at Astronomy at the Beach, taking in all of the sights and sounds. We're here at Astronomy at the Beach, and we're going to take a look at this marvelous telescope behind us. It's the Warren Astronomical Society's Yard telescope, and here to tell us all about it, is Mark from the Warren Club. Mark?
Thank you, Don. This telescope was built in 1996 by Warren Astronomy Club members. It has a 22-inch reflecting mirror, and when the telescope is all the way looking at an object up high in the sky, you're about 9 feet off the ground with the eyepiece. You get great views of deep sky objects, and it's always a big popular telescope for this event right here. Probably one of the longest lines that you'll see at this event.
So you take this around to a number of observing sites. Do you take it out to the Warren site as well for folks?
Okay, this telescope, if you get a close look at it, you'll notice right now it's on wheels. We actually built the club in 2002. We built what was called the Dob Shed. So we actually have this telescope assembled at all times. And when we have an observing event on our fourth Saturday of the month, that's our open house. We can actually just roll up the doors on the Dob Shed, and we can wheel the big Dob right out into the observing field. We take off the wheels, and we're ready to observe. Okay, but traveling from Ray Township out here in Milford, New Hudson, we have to disassemble it and find a willing driver we have our own trailer, and we take it apart, and it comes in 3 sections, and we bring it back on the field, and we reassemble it, and we got to get it collimated so we can get nice crisp views.
That's great. What are you hoping to be able to show the visitors here at Astronomy at the Beach tonight?
Well, tonight, hopefully, if we get some nice clear skies, this scope really stands out when we're looking at deep sky objects, something like M13, the Great Globular Cluster, and Hercules. There's some spiral galaxies we can look at. Last year, after our pandemic shutdown for a couple of years, we were out here, and the skies were only cooperating in a certain area of the sky, but we were able to observe Jupiter and Saturn the entire night, and it was just like people were just amazed at what we saw. We actually saw, while we were observing Jupiter, we saw one of the moons of Jupiter coming around the corner, and we just saw it. We saw a little speck on it, and then an hour later we could see the moon clearly. So we saw about 5 of Saturn's moons, maybe 6 or 7 of Jupiter's, but the Galilean moons are always prominent on there. So it was really interesting, and people are getting a sense of the history of learned a lot about Jupiter.
Well, that sounds great, Mark. We want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us about this magnificent telescope, and we'll move along to our next station. We're here with Tim Campbell from the Ford Amateur Astronomy Club, who has brought out his solar scope and is going to talk about it a little bit. He was nice enough to give us some images taken with the scope, since right now the sun is behind a cloud. So, Tim, can you tell us about the scope?
Sure. So when you want to look at the sun, you would normally never ever want to do that with a regular telescope because you'd go blind. So there's a couple of ways that we can do it. One is with a telescope where we just put a filter on the front. Think of that as incredibly powerful sunglasses. That scope could be used at nighttime without the filter or in the daytime with the filter. This scope is a little different, though. This is called a hydrogen alpha solar telescope, and what it does is it blocks all the colors of light, all the wavelengths, except for one particular shade of red, and that particular shade of red happens to be the shade that hydrogen emits when it's excited, and so that's what this scope does. You get a very vibrant red image of the sun, but you also see amazing textures. You actually do see the prominences and the filaments and all the little surface details all over. I think you wanted to show an image of what that would look like, but you actually see that with your own eyeballs. So you don't need a camera or anything special to be able to do it. You just put your eye up here and you will see the sun yourself in real time. And the sun changes more than any other object in the solar system from day to day.
All right, well, thank you very much for that intro to solar observing, and we'll move on to our next stop. We're here at one of the bigger scopes on the field. We're here with its owner, Sean, to tell us all about it.
Yeah, so it's good to be on this side of the camera again. This is my 14-inch SCT. I purchased it from another club member a couple years ago. It's nice and big and see a lot of stuff. I'll be able to see the rings of Saturn, no problem. At the moon, when the moon gets up, we'll look at the moon, and some great views.
So what types of objects besides the one you just mentioned can be seen in this type of scope?
So we can look through, see a bunch of fainter nebulae. I'll look at the ring nebula. We'll have probably dumbbell as well at some point. M13, always have to look at that. Probably Bode's and Cigar Galaxy. I might go there. Maybe Andromeda, but that one's easier to get with smaller scopes.
So this is a pretty good size scope. Does it take a lot to get it set up and carry it around?
Yeah, actually, there's a case that I have for it, and I can load it all up into my car by myself and unload it, but it takes two people to lift it up. From here up, it's 110 pounds, and the tripod itself is 60 as well. So you're talking 170 pounds just right here to get set up. It's a little too much for one person to handle to get set up safely.
Safety is the key issue anytime we're talking about this type of equipment. Well, Sean, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. We're here at another interesting telescope, and we'll have the owner tell us all about it. Jim?
This telescope was professionally made about 20 years ago. It's a Newtonian reflector on a dobsonian mount. The mount operates like a cannon. Back and forth, up and down, that's how you find yourself in the sky. It has a parabolic mirror. It's classic Newtonian in that sense, and the light focuses back up to a flat, and the flat projects it out here. I don't know if you'll see it on camera, but there's an eyepiece here that is where you view the image. And that's how this telescope works, basically. It's also computerized, I can go to, but the main parts are how the optics work.
And how long have you had the scope?
A couple of years. I bought it from another member in the club.
Interesting. And what types of objects can you typically see in this type of a scope?
Most anything you can think of that's brighter than, say, 15th, 16th magnitude. Galaxies, nebulas, planetary nebulas, double stars, planets, just about anything that the optics are capable of gathering in. This site, however, is fairly well light polluted, so its effectiveness is reduced.
Right, light pollution always takes away something from the beauty of the night sky.
Well, it does more than that. It makes us less healthy, and a lot of the pollinating insects operate at night, so it reduces crop yields. I mean, there's a lot of bad things about light pollution.
Big problems all around. Jim, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're here beside the Ford Amateur Astronomy Club's 20-inch Obsession Dobsonian reflecting telescope. Now, the club has had this for a little while, but because of COVID and other weather conditions, this will be the first time that this scope has been at Astronomy at the Beach, Red Letter Day. We're down here at the other end of the telescopes that we were just showing you a moment ago to give you a different vantage point on the wide variety of scopes that the astronomers have brought out for the general public to take a look at during this fantastic event. We hope you've enjoyed this tour of Astronomy at the Beach 2023. If you have like to check out our club website, you can do so. The address, as always, is down at the bottom of your screen. And coming up next with What's Up in the Night Sky is Stephen.
Thanks, Don. What's up in the night sky for October 2023? The days are getting shorter in the north and longer in the south, the fastest since we just had the equinox. And the day lengths slow in change to the coming solstice. The third quarter moon is on October 6th. The new moon is on the 14th, the first quarter is on the 21st, and the full moon is on the 28th. All of these planet images are depicted on October 1st. And we start with Mercury, Venus, Uranus, and Jupiter about an hour before sunrise. Mercury goes from Virgo to Libra over the month and rises at the beginning of the month an hour before sunrise and sets at the end of the month just about sunset. Mercury has superior conjunction October 20th. Venus is in Leo all month and rises about 4 hours before sunrise all month. Max western elongation, when it should be farthest from the sun, is on October 23rd. Uranus is in Aries and rises 2 hours after sunset to about sunset at the end of the month, and Jupiter is in Aries and rises about an hour after sunset to about sunset at the end of the month. And then we have Mars, and this is at sunset on the 1st. Mars is in Virgo to Libra over the month and sets near sunset at the end of the month. Now, superior conjunction is coming on November 18th. Then we have Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto shown maybe an hour after sunset. Neptune is in Pisces and sets from an hour to 4 hours before sunrise over the month. Saturn is in Aquarius and sets 3 to 5 hours before sunrise. And Pluto is in Sagittarius and sets 8 to 9 hours before sunrise. You'll need a better finding chart for Pluto than this, and a 10 or 12-inch telescope at the minimum. Comet C 2023 P1 Nishimura was last month's bright comet, and it will stay bright and near Mars and Mercury this month. Unfortunately, this is also close to the Sun. While people have gotten great photos like Peter Kennett, there aren't many who manage to see it visually. The good news is that it has moved from the morning to the evening, so you can wait until the sun is set and look for it. My plan is to wait 430 years for the next time it loops into the inner solar system. And that's what's up in the night sky for October 2023. Remember, we don't charge money for this show, but we may tax your brain.